Welcome to Business Talk, our weekly University of Rio Grande OSU South Center's podcast show. We are here at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Not only are we doing a live internet radio through Blogtalk Radio, but we are also live on the Jackson Educational Access Channel and Channel 17 University of Rio Grande's channel. Our podcasts are archived and placed on YouTube for viewing and listening again. Our mission is simple: to promote the University of Rio Grande and its diverse educational programs, promote the Ohio State University South Centers and its many business technology programs, and finally, promote Southern Ohio, a great place to live, learn, and enjoy life to its fullest. I am Jason Winters, Director of the Center for Small Business Entrepreneurship, and with me is my co-host Mike Thompson, Instructional Design and Media Services Director. We are both with the University of Rio Grande. Also, we have Patrick Dengel, Business Development Specialist, who is behind the camera today, and Kimberly Roush, who couldn't join us. She is a Program Assistant, and both of them are with the Ohio State University South Centers. Today, we are featuring Pam Casto of K&L Catering, located in Gallia County. Pam and Todd aspire to have each catering event talked about for years to come, and her small business tips will be of great value to any person starting or expanding their business. Pam, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your business?
I've been in the business for 14 years now. Me and my husband bought an existing catering business over from Point Pleasant, Wilson's Catering. She had been out of business for 2 years when we took over, so we did her client list, and customer list, clients, recipes, and we started from the ground up, building it back up. We worked out of Point Pleasant for the first 2 years, and then we moved the business over to Gallipolis.
So what in the world made you decide to go into catering?
Me and my cousin was going to start it. She was the food guru, and I was more of decorations and setting up and stuff. She wasn't financially able to do it, so we hired one of Carolyn's employees that helped her the last couple of years that she was in business. And she trained me from ground up how to use the equipment, when to bring out what equipment, and the recipes and how to cook for large amounts of people, and we've been growing ever since.
Now you say large amounts of people. When I think of catering, I think of, a few people getting together and having a small party. What are the numbers that you serve?
When we first started, I thought 25 to 30 was big to cook for. We've done weddings up to 400 to 500. Well, we've done one event we've had at one location, we've done 580 guests. One Saturday night, Memorial Weekend, we've served over 600 people in 4 locations.
Is this out of one kitchen?
One kitchen.
Okay. That's a feat.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're not talking about a normal kitchen. I'm assuming we're talking
commercial kitchen, yes. We have a off-premise catering business. We just have a big kitchen facility, and then everything gets cooked there and then shipped off-premise to your choice location.
So what's your favorite meal to cook?
We like to cook everything. New recipes are always good because we get tired of the same. When everybody loves the baked steak, but when we cook it and have it quite a bit, that gets old for us. But we love to do prime ribs, chicken cordon bleu, the pasta dishes, taco bars.
So why don't you tell us some of the pros and cons of owning your own small business?
Some of the pros, you get to pick your schedule. You get to schedule your vacations when you want to go. You don't have to wait in line for somebody else to pick theirs. You get to do your own products and services. You get to pick and choose. If you want to do big weddings, if there's a small wedding and it's not really feasible, then you don't have to choose to do that. Some of the cons, you have to do the jobs whether you're sick. I've had kids that have been sick, and you still have to go out and do the jobs. I've had sick kids that I've taken the back seat out of the van and bought a TV and DVDs and put them in the front of the shop, and they watched movies while we got the lunches out in the back and got them delivered. So when you're your own boss, it goes out regardless. Another con for a small business is benefits and insurance and retirement plans. I have to rely on my husband and his job for that. We work with a lot of family. I have rotate through my sisters and mom and cousins and those people that come in and work. So you kind of know what you're getting into when you're there, but if something doesn't go right, then you have that family tension that doesn't always stay with the workplace. So that's kind of a con with that.
So what is important about the catering business? What do you find is the most important thing that you focus on?
We focus on service. A lot of people think catering is about the food, and it is, but it isn't. When I first started, I had people ask me, like, oh, it's so glamorous about the food and, the big recipes that you get to cook. And yeah, it is. But when you have guests that come in, the first thing that they do is they see. So you have to make sure the presentation is there. It has to look good. It has to smell good. Before they even sit down to taste it, because if it doesn't look good, they're not even going to taste it. And I have a son who is very picky, and if it doesn't look right, he isn't even going to try it. But I really focus on service, on how the guest is treated. They are the number one person of the world that day, and we try to do everything that we can to make them happy in whatever they need. And sometimes it's doing babysitting, because a lot of the weddings, when everybody's getting ready and doing their things, they always send the father of the bride to me. And love him to death. He's usually the one paying for the bill. But when we set up and we have tables and stuff, tablescapes that are up and down and wrinkled tablecloths, I come back in and the father of the bride has them all out straight, no wrinkles. And I had one father of the bride, the fourth time he came in, I'm like, you really need to go find something else to do besides work on my tables.
So what's the split of all your business? Did you get into it to do weddings or parties, or what all different things, and what percentage do you have of different things?
We started in it for weddings and events. We did a lot of alumni, graduations, class reunions, and then we got more into corporate. I do a lot with drug reps with doctor offices and that kind of traveling. Now, 14 years later, we do a lot more holiday parties, weddings. The corporate world's kind of really slacked off here since the whole economy has changed, and we don't do as much corporate as what we did in the past 5 or 6 years, but it's really changed. But we do a lot more social catering.
What do you do for marketing? How do you get your business? Is this word of mouth? Or?
A lot of it is word of mouth. Facebook has helped a lot, and the website is a big help. And we do an annual tasting. We send out flyers and information on that because that's a big thing with brides, is they want to taste what you're doing. For me, it's easier to do one event and have everything there and cook for all of them than to come in and do a sample bite of prime rib for 2 people. It's not efficient for me to do that.
I've got a note here that says catering, behind the glamour. What does that mean?
A lot of these reality TV shows you a half an hour of these big events, and they don't just appear. It takes a lot of work, a lot of planning, and it just doesn't happen. And you have a lot of people that call and get prices and want to know what you can do, and then they're like, oh, we can do this, not a problem. But they don't understand the stress of being part of the wedding party and the mother of the bride, and she thinks that she can cook the food and have, food on your table just doesn't show up. You have to have somebody, to change out those pans, and it's a lot of work. One of the things that we did, we have done a wedding, 250 guests out in a field in the strip mines, no electric, no running water, and
I think I did that same wedding.
Yes. So planning with that, you have to have generators. We had to have a refrigerated truck. We have to have, water to, enough water for water on the tables for the guests to drink, water to make coffee. We have to have hand washing stations. You have to have dishwashing, and then you have to have water like for the chauffeurs and for the equipment to some of that to work. And then we've been to a couple events where we went to plug in the coffee pot and it blows a circuit. Mm-hmm. So you always have to have, electric that's going to cover a coffee pot. But you have to, there's a lot of planning. That's not something that's going to happen 2 or 3 days before the event. So, it was like months of planning to make sure that we had enough coverage for all of that. And being out in the middle of nowhere, you can't just run to the store and pick up, an extra bag of ice, or can't run back to the shop and get this. It's just, you have to make sure you have everything there.
Yeah, this was a half an hour from anywhere, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out a dirt road and then in through the grass, and
Right. And then on the other end of that, we've been in a facility where you have all those amenities, and we go to put out the shrimp in this big shrimp display, and told them, I'm like, okay, it's about time for guests. Let's get the shrimp out, because that's usually one of the last things we put out. Well, they opened it up and they come and tell me that the shrimp is raw. It's not cooked. And the facility we're in, we have water and we have a stove, but they don't have any pots to cook this in, and no seasoning, because, we're planning on it already being that way. So we improvised. We found some small saucepans. We're looking at 200 people coming to this, so we're like flipping shrimp fast. Good thing it cooks fast. And then when we get through that, the sink backs up and we have this huge flood in the kitchen. But that's behind the scenes and stress that we have to overcome and get the stuff out. But yet the people out at the party have no idea what's going on. They're enjoying themselves, and that's stuff that is behind the scenes, that it's behind the glamour, because you still have to go out with a smile on your face, and you don't want to spread any of that, because that just puts tension on the client. Mm-hmm. And then people start panicking, and you don't want any of that to come outside those kitchen doors. All of that has to stay back there.
Is there any special services that you have? I know, like chocolate fountains or ice sculptures, or beyond the food. Is there anything else you guys do like that?
We do chocolate fountains. They're very messy. Mm-hmm. They're not my favorite thing. Brides love them. We also do a chocolate river, where we set up with glass blocks and lighting, and we do the 3 chocolates and caramel, and then we do glass vases that have all the dippers in it. That's really cool. Ice sculptures, we do those. We normally do like a mold that's of the bride and groom. We've done a heart, we've done a swan, and this past summer I found a company that I really love through the catering people that I know that actually sculpt them and carve them out and bring in. It's a really cool fish. She wanted, the bride wanted like a cruise line type theme for her wedding, and we did this. It was a really cool like goldfish with it. It was cool.
Is there any memorable stories that you might be able to share?
One of my favorites, when we first started, I had a bride call me, and she was a friend. I graduated from high school with her, and she said, Pam, she said, I'm calling. We are getting married this weekend. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And she said, no, you don't understand. We were booked at the Moose, and we've outgrown their facility. And she said, so we have to move it. And I said, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? And she said, I'm calling you. I'm like, oh, okay, what are we going to do? So she called me like on a Sunday evening, and we had like that week to plan for 450 people.
You had a week to prepare for a venue.
To order in, yes.
Wow.
Yep. She actually ended up having it here. I think she got the gym here and had it, and yeah.
Are you still friends?
Yes,
okay.
We are. Yes.
So starting business, you really didn't have any business experience. You really didn't have any catering experience or wedding planning experience. So how did you make this a success? What did you learn from all of this?
I'm still learning today. I learn something new every day. When we first went in, the one lady helped me as far as like how Wilson's did it, how she priced things, and gave me a general idea. I started going to catering conferences 2 years after we were in business. And the first year we went, they have those out in Vegas, and which was a wonderful trip. But when we we learned so much information. We came back and basically shut everything down and totally revised and started up again with how you're pricing, and it was just amazing what information that we learned from out there. And I go every year, just about. We skip a year or two just to get everything implemented, what they teach. But they have business classes and cooking classes, and that helps all around for caterers.
Yeah, I think pricing, and for my business too, is a delicate balance. You can price yourself out of business. You can be too cheap and not make enough. You can be too cheap and not be perceived as having value.
Right.
So there's a balance of being expensive enough to where you show your value and worth, but not too much so that people won't pay it.
Right. It is. And then you have your competitors that you have to watch, where they're at with pricing too. And I try to strive, especially doing classes, and try to stay in the industry and the top of the trends. I strive for K&L Catering to be at the top and everybody follow me. That's what my goal is with this business.
So we've talked mainly about operations and how you're running the business, but all of the other things behind the scenes, accounting. Did you have experience in accounting?
No.
How did you learn that? And what kind of advice would you give someone who has a passion to start their business and whatever that might be, to be able to operate? Because just because you're a good mechanic doesn't mean that you can run an automobile repair shop, or just because you can cook good food means you can run a catering business. What advice do you give those people out there about pursuing their dreams?
One of the things that we did was we went through an accountant and got information that way. But my husband, he's kind of the silent partner until it comes to tax time and numbers and figures, and he's more into that side of it than what I am. I'm trying to think some advice. I've learned a lot of hard mistakes along the way of losing money, and come to the end of the day and it's like, oh, we got to pay these bills. Where are we going to get this money from? But you learn from your mistakes, and you learn to charge a little bit more for this, or you actually charge for the services that you're doing and not give it all. My husband's like, you can't give it all for free. You can't keep giving it away. That's his motto to me. You can't give it away. And we still give away a lot more than what I should, but I'm all about service and like I said, going beyond what they expect. But there are things that you need to charge for, but being in a small community, there's just some things that you'll never be able to get the value out of.
Now, was that more because you were doing more, or maybe you ordered too much food and you had more expense into what you had ordered, and maybe you ordered too much?
For me, when I first started, I invested a lot in decorations and setups, and we never charged for buffets, or we never charged for decorations. See, now I do a buffet charge.
Like for the sterno or whatever?
Well, just for like material. I have a small fortune in different material colors and patterns and that kind of stuff. And silk flowers, which aren't in style now, so those are just in storage. But the sternos and the disposable stuff, I never included any of that until probably last 4 or 5 years. And it's like, oh yeah, that's still coming out of my pocket, so now it gets added in with the food cost. But that's what my sister came in and ran my office for me, and she's really good at business management and stuff too. And she's like, you make money on everything. She said, how do you think the mechanics, they charge you $35 an hour for a mechanic? She said, they don't get paid $35 an hour, Pam. I'm like, I guess that's true. She's like, you have to charge your staffing the same way. So I'm like, well, duh, I never, who would have thought to make money off of your staffing? So, that's stuff like that I've learned along the way.
One thing that Patrick and I deal with all the time when we're talking with small businesses is they usually have problems with cash flow. They've got so much money going out and they don't have it coming in a timely manner to cover all the bills. I'm assuming that's probably true in the catering business as well.
It is. I will say that we have a great record. I've only had maybe a handful in the 14 years that I've not gotten payment on, which I think is really good. I don't know how other businesses run, but I've had not very many at all that has not been paid for. We try to get everything, especially with weddings, I try to get everything paid the day of when we come in to staff or drop off. But sometimes with corporations and stuff, it comes sometimes 30, 45 days later, and, we just do with what we can the best. With my vendors, a lot of them have a net 30 that we can pay for the foods and stuff, and then I have an American Express. That's my vacation fund. You get the points on that. So everything I can run through American Express, that pays my airline tickets and stuff for vacation.
So is this mainly a female type of business, or are you in the minority as far as catering and that kind of thing?
Catering in general, or just my catering business?
Well, in general, is catering ran, is that a guy's field, a woman's field, or what?
The catering courses and classes that I've been to, it's probably 50-50. Around here, I think there's more women in this area.
Well, Pat, why don't you step here behind the camera? I think you have a question that you want to bring out.
I see somebody jumping around like a monkey in the background.
Yeah.
I couldn't see what he was doing.
Well, one of the things, Pam, it's great having you here.
Thank you.
One of the things that I'm finding is that in our area, women-owned businesses appear to be premium, because most individuals feel that if you are a woman-owned business, there's going to be all sorts of grants. There's going to be all sorts of extra kinds of things that's going to be available because you're a woman-owned business. And we, as Jason and Mike have alluded to, we know that is not necessarily the case. And so what's your take on women-owned businesses?
I was going to say, if you find any of those grants and stuff, send them my way, because I haven't found any. I haven't found any. When we first, when we went to move the business from Point Pleasant to Galplis, we had to have a loan to do that, because I had to renovate. We have a small house that we renovated, gutted out, and made into a kitchen. And I had to have money for that, and then to move all the equipment over and get licensing and all of that stuff. And we did a business plan, and we went to 4 or 5 banks, and I could not even get a business loan for that. So we ended up taking out a personal loan to start up the business, because they told me that we was too big of a risk and it would not work. And here I am 14 years later.
I love stories like that.
Yeah.
Now, was there a certain amount of time where it, where you had to catch up to all that, and then it started paying off?
Yes, it probably close to 5 years before we got to where it was on its own and we wasn't putting our money into it. When it was out on its own feet, it was closer to 5 versus the 3 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure a lot of people know that. It takes a while for everything to catch up and it start being profitable.
Yeah.
As profitable as you can be to live on, at least.
Pat may have some more statistics on that, but from what I know from experience, usually 5 years is about when businesses start making profits.
Now, is there any new technology or anything that might be coming up in the field that you've seen?
There's been a lot of new techniques with cooking and stuff, especially on-site cooking, which kind of scares me, because I don't like to have people wait. I have this thing about people waiting on me, and I'm thinking to have 200 people in line and I'm still waiting on these steaks to get done on the grill. But I'm becoming more comfortable with that. But we've learned techniques like, they call it cave cooking, and it's in cabinets with sternos, and you have 8 to 10 12s in a cabinet, and you just rotate the sternos, and in a half hour everything's cooked and done. And it's just it was just amazing, thinking, who would have thought?
So do you do things like cooking your steaks to order?
We can. We do have a huge grill that we take on site and can grill on site, or we do, if you order prime rib or like a filet of mignon, tenderloin, we do those in the whole loins and then at the shop and cook, and then we slice those on site right before it goes out on the buffet, so you still have your medium or medium rare.
Now, I can say that, catering is not cheap, and it's probably one of the biggest expenses in a wedding. But I think it's a very worthwhile expense, having done this kind of thing a couple times. Just not to worry. I mean, there's a lot. I've heard people here and there saying that, well, we'll just make some stuff at home and bring it out on their hot plates and all that kind of thing, and trying to do it themselves. And then, this is the parents of the bride and the groom and the family. If you're stuck doing that, you enjoy nothing, and you're running around as the parent, and you miss everything as far as the wedding.
Yes.
And also, you've got to put a price on that as the consumer. What's it worth to me to just sit back and enjoy the day and be with my family and all that, and not have to worry about dressing the tables and taking things here and there and cooking and making sure it's warm enough for everyone, and service, and what if we run out? All those worries are gone, and that's part of the cost benefit that you would realize out of hiring that out.
Right, and we try to tell that to brides' moms that want to do it all, and it's just like, I'm telling you, it's so worth the price for you to enjoy your day. And because I've talked to moms that said, no, we can do it, we're going to handle it, and then I see them later and they said, we so should have went with you.
Yeah, they were frazzled at the end, I'm sure.
They don't remember anything because
No.
they couldn't be there to see her get her hair fixed or have the pictures when she was putting her dress on, because they have to be in the kitchen.
They were doing your job.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about marketing. I'm assuming you have a website.
Yes.
Are all of your menus out on your website for people to go out and investigate?
Yes. Yes. That's at klcateringoh.com.
What other information can they find on your website?
We have galleries on there of cakes. We do special occasion cakes and wedding cakes. We have some of our catering events on there. We have some testimonies on there of people that has, I think most of the testimonies on there are from the cakes. We have maybe 2 or 3 of them on there that's from weddings. We have pictures, our menus we redone on there have pictures of some of the food and appetizers that we actually serve, that we've taken pictures on site. And we are also on Facebook. You can find us on there, and sometimes there's more updated pictures and information on Facebook than what there is on the website.
So now, do you make your own cakes, or do you?
Yes.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Have you done a divorce cake?
I haven't done one of those
You
yet.
haven't? Okay.
Mm-mm.
I think that's a new thing, having a party after your divorce.
Yeah.
Are those a red cake? Just
I'm
curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had a cake for that. I have not attended nor put one on.
So you've mentioned your family. Certainly you have more than just your family working for you.
I do. A lot of my staff and servers that come in past my family is my church youth group. We usually start all of them, their first jobs start with K&L Catering. And we have big events like December, Christmas time season that comes through. We'll have events that is bring your friend to work tonight. And the one who brings the most friends gets a prize. We've gone through those seasons too. That we have fun.
Good.
Okay, we're about to the end. We've got about a minute and a half. Is there any parting thoughts, anything that you wanted to get through to our audience that you want to get out there?
If you invest in a small business, do what you love, because it's not a job. It's fun and it's enjoyable, and it's something that you want to wake up and do every day. And if you're going to invest it, you might as well do it in something that you love to do.
Not that it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's rewarding when
Right.
when it's something that you love to do.
Quickly tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you.
We're at K&L Catering, website klcateringoh.com, Facebook just K&L Catering, and phone number 740-446-9319.
30 seconds. What do we have coming up next week?
Next week we have Bill Smith. He is the president or the director of the Lawrence County Economic Development Chamber of Commerce. And he's been on TV as one of the newscasters, and I think it's going to be an exciting time.
Pam, we'd like to thank you for coming today. I'm Jason.
I'm Mike.
I'm Pam.
And I'm Patrick.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching.